Sitting to the right of the abdominal aorta is the inferior vena cava. Now, because of the portal system, we don't have branches coming into the inferior vena cava like the aorta gave off. We don't have an equivalent of the celiac trunk, the equivalent of the superior or inferior mesenteric arteries passing directly into the inferior vena cava. Remember, they pass into the portal vein, which goes to the liver. But they do have some important branches. So the inferior vena cava receives all its venous blood from the lower limbs, does this by way of common iliac and the external iliac vein. It also receives blood from the posterior body wall via some lumbar veins, and it also receives blood from the pelvis via internal iliac veins. Finally, it's going to receive blood via the hepatic veins, which is taking blood directly from the liver. And we can see some hepatic veins positioned right at the top here. But we have quite a long stretch of the inferior vena cava that's not really receiving any venous input. What we can see is that it's formed a bit lower than the bifurcation of the aorta at L5. That's where the two common iliac veins form the inferior vena cava, coming up here and in this direction to form the inferior vena cava, and it ascends to the right of the aorta. It enters into the thorax via the caval opening, which is at T8. The main blood vessels that do pass into the inferior vena cava are the renal veins coming from the left and the right, kidneys. Importantly, we can see here that the kidney on the left has the left venal vein passing anterior to the aorta. The left venal vein receives the left gonadal vein, whereas the right gonadal vein actually passes directly into the inferior vena cava. So the inferior vena cava receives venous blood from the gonads, be it the testes or the ovaries, but the left one drains into the left renal vein, whilst the right one drains directly into the IVC. Receives suprarenal veins, which we'll explore in the next lecture, draining from the suprarenal glands, and it receives drainage from the liver. This is blood that is going to be full of nutrients that have been processed by the liver and returning it quickly into the systemic circulation.